You know, Michael references in here the 10th Amendment. And let me explain. The 10th Amendment is a fairly significant and deep issue. But I just want to touch upon one aspect of it. You may have heard the phrase, vote with your feet. It is a doctrine that has long applied to the United States because of its Republican nature. And that doesn't mean Republican Party. Republican system of government. Okay? And in a republic, what you basically have is a confederation of sovereign nations. That's exactly what we have here, although because of the way the public school system operates, no one is taught that. People come away from their education believing that the states of the Union are just small, less significant subdivisions of the federal government. As you well know, that's not at all the truth. In fact, the U.S. Supreme Court has stated that the states are their own separate sovereign nations, except in the areas where they have joined together under the compact called the United States Constitution. So, being that the states are independent and that they join together for certain limited purposes, that is the definition of a republic. That is what James Madison was the architect of. That's what Thomas Jefferson believed so fervently in. That is what we have. Now, has that been perverted? Yes, of course. But it is still what we have. It is still ours. We can still resurrect it. We can still hold it up and say, look, this belongs to us and we're going to do this. And you know what? If we do that, no one can stop us. We're just not doing it. But the expression, vote with your feet, is based on having a republic. So if I'm living in the nation of California, which I was, now remember, state, call them states. We've come to think of America as, in America, as a state is just a subdivision of the federal government. Well, it's not. They got the name state when they were independent nations. Most people are unaware that when the Treaty of Peace was signed between England and the colonies, it was between each separate colony. England and Massachusetts, England and Georgia, England and so on. Okay? Each one became their own independent state. You know, we have the U.S. State Department. That's because that is the organization that conducts foreign affairs with other states. Now, today that term has sort of fallen into it's evolved or devolved, depending on how you want to look at that. We don't use that term. Nobody looks and says, well, I'm going to go talk to the state of Iraq. Okay, they would say, well, I'm going to go over to the nation of Iraq. But nevertheless, the reason it's called the State Department is in the language of that day, a state was a separate, sovereign, independent nation. And it's still in the dictionary that way. We just don't use it very commonly anymore. So when the colony of Massachusetts became the state of Massachusetts, it was a separate, independent, sovereign nation, and it still is today, with the exception of those areas of authority that it has ceded, delegated to the federal government. Other than that, it is still a separate sovereign nation. So, voting with your feet means that if you are in one nation, one state, and that state is not conducting its affairs in relationship to its citizens the way you think it should, you can remove yourself from that state and you can set up domicile somewhere else. Yes, I'm choosing my words carefully, legally. Okay? So I remove myself from the state of California, which is exactly what I did. I got tired of living in a socialist, almost communistic state. So I voted with my feet. I came to a state that I felt was more respectful of my individual liberties. Nevada. I may at some point move to another state that I feel is even more respectful of my individual liberties. At this point, that state's looking like Arizona. Nevada's going to lose me, I think, at this point. We'll see. Because Arizona is stepping up. Arizona is saying, we're all about liberty. Nevada, yeah, you got some liberty going on, but Arizona, we're all about liberty. Now tell me something. If we lose that character of being a republic, in all the power, all the authority, the ability to pull strings, the ability to be the puppet master, to control everything all over the country, emanates from Washington, D.C., where would you go? If you don't like it in one state, doesn't matter where you move to, because it'll all be controlled from D.C. The 10th Amendment plays a crucial role. The 10th Amendment says that the states have 100% independent authority to act. 100%. Except in those areas of Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution that have been delegated to the United States government. Now, whose job is it to make sure that the federal government does only those enumerated things? Well, clearly, it's us. It's the states. I'm Dave Champion. Stay with me. Be back right after these words.